Hey everyone, welcome back to the Project-Based Learning course. So far, you've done a lot. You've got your feet wet a little bit in looking at what project-based learning is and what project-based learning isn't. And hopefully that's helped to set the foundation and got your wheels turning for thinking about what possible projects you can run within your community. Perhaps you already have some project ideas you just want to tune and really refine based on this new format, or perhaps you want to come up with a new idea. So either way, I think you're going to find this very useful. Now I'm going to share with you a really useful tip called community mapping. And I was first exposed to this through the Jane Goodall Institute here in Hong Kong that works on community mapping with schools and communities to really map out possible connections. And I think it's going to be a great starting point for your projects. So without further ado, here's the method. First, I'll show you what students will create. Or what you and your project team will create if you're creating a community map for project ideas. So if we click here and you see it pulling up, if you don't have access to Google, hopefully you can do this through something like Baidu or Yahoo Maps. But Google is really handy in doing this. As you notice here, there's all of these different points. Here are the different places around the Stanley IMS school, which is a school that I work at. And these are all the possible connections to the community. If I click here, I see Stanley Prison. There's a little bit of a background on Stanley Prison, and there's a picture of Stanley Prison. There's the boathouse, which is close to IMS as well. It's a very historic site where lots of people take photographs. So these are all pictures and things that our students in the community, they went out and they found these possible projects. So it's really amazing to engage your students in these possible projects. And as you see, each one of these has a different description, and it's pictures. If you notice, it's pictures with the teachers and the students themselves, and the students created this map. So it's very useful for mapping out possible projects within the community. Now, that's the student map, and I'm going to pull us right back here and to show you a little bit about what you might create with your project teams. So again, let's give a justification. Typically, we see school is separated from the community. And perhaps there's some connections, but a lot of times it's usually internal. The school has a need, and so it looks for a field trip that might connect. This is a way for the school and the community to be linked and to ensure that we're starting our projects with ones that are both beneficial to the school as well as the community. And here we go. It provides inspiration for project-based experiences. It will help address and hopefully solve some community problems. And you also could possibly map out internships or job shadows using this method. And at least for our purposes, it helped promote sustainable tourism. But that might not be exactly related to what you were doing. So again, let's see, go to the next slide. So the first step is to really engage with your community. Now, what I show you here are students. So if you want to take students out to the community to engage better with the community, you can. Or you can start this with your project team of teachers. So this is pictured here of us going out to the library and interviewing and talking to the library, finding out a little bit more about how long it's been there, what their needs are. This is a student here going to the post office. And this is same students going here to some housing. It's some really low-cost housing in the area, and trying to find out and just dig a little bit deeper into what those things are and what their needs possibly could be. Now, once you've done that, you want to take some photos and some pictures, and then you kind of want to map those things out. So this shows here the students who are mapping out those possible ideas and those possible links. You can see here all those pictures coming together, and they're linking those to an actual map here of the Stanley region, which is where our school is located. So they'll link photos to spots on the physical map. They'll add icons and a short description on the collective map. And as you can see, they've done that here, right? So here's some of the pictures, and here's some of the description. Okay. So this is what it looked like at the end. I just showed you the Google map. This is what it looked like if you actually had a physical handout of it. And it's cool. You could blow this thing up in your community space to show here are all the possible connections with the community. So starting this with your students is really, really beneficial to you, because what you're doing is you're getting your kids engaged in the community and you're mapping out all these ideas. Now, I'm going to move on here. That shows, again, a link to the map. Now, I think this is going to pull us to one that teachers created. And yes, it's project ideas around Park Maitland. So this is a school I was working with in Florida called Park Maitland. And I did this workshop and had them do the same things I did with students. And as you notice here, they all looked around their area and they were with teams, and it was a big kind of scavenger hunt. Is what are the possible project ideas around our school? And so I'm going to zoom in a little bit farther here, and I want to pull up one that I thought was especially interesting. This is the Audubon Center for Birds of Prey. And so this is a possible project idea that they mapped out. It's hard to see here, this little picture, but this is a region, and it's called the Birds of Prey. And basically their whole purpose is to show what the endangered birds are that exist in that particular area. As you see, this student is looking intently at the birds of prey, and they wrote a description, this project group. They talked a little bit about what the center is used for, and they came up with a project idea based off their interviews and investigation of that spot. It talks about funding as a perennial problem. They want chairs, lawns, ground maintenance, print services, everyday items, medical supplies. So they have a huge need for fundraising. And so these teachers got together. It was an art teacher and a humanities teacher as well. And they said, okay, what's a possible project idea that we could engage the students in that is going to benefit their community? And if you read on a little bit farther, they talked about a project which was going to be an art project. So here it is. Students can choose to create an artistic description and depiction of their bird of prey. They will write a description of the bird and of their importance in the cycle of life. The artistic depiction will be mounted and displayed in an art show where each will be auctioned to the highest bidder. So they're going to put on an art show for the birds of prey. How incredible. What a great idea. They're combining art, they're combining a little bit of social studies and geography, they're combining science and learning about the birds of prey, and they're serving a community need. And I'm not going to go through each of these project ideas, but I thought this was just incredible the way that these teachers gravitated towards this idea. And I really strongly suggest you start thinking about projects by going out into your community. And so hopefully I've given you enough of a justification on what to do. Really quick, I'll show you the picture. This is them sharing their projects with each other. Notice how excited they are to share those projects and really get the whole team involved. It's really, really a great strategy. So I'm going to go back here and show you how you would start this. So you're going to first want to go to My Maps. So go to Google My Maps. Okay, if you don't have a Google account, you'll have to create one. So I'm going to go to Google My Maps, and once I click there, excuse me with my cold, I'm fighting a cold right now. You go to create a new map. So I'm going to go to create a new map and click on that. Now, my map has not a title right now, so I'm going to give it a title. Project Ideas, and let's pick San Diego as my hometown, so I'm going to pick the school. Let's look at High Tech High, around High Tech High. Okay, save. You can add a project description later. So I'm going to zoom in and go to San Diego. Specifically, I'm going to go to High Tech High. All right, so I'm going to go High Tech High International. I'm going to click on that school. Okay, and this is going to be my starting point. Now I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. All right, so here is, for example, High Tech High International. Now I know there's this Liberty Station NTC Park. Okay, so let's just say that we went out to Liberty Station NTC Park. Notice how you see that there's this little crossing way for this waterway that goes from Liberty Station. It goes across here to the other side of the harbor. And this actually is a project that kids came up with. It was really exciting. But I'm going to click and put a dot right here. I think you drag it right there, a point. And I'm going to say a water crossing boat project. Okay, students will create a device to cross this small channel. And this is actually a project that they did. Of course, I don't have a picture yet. You can get a picture very easily by snapping some photos. Snap a photo, put a description. And now, as I start adding these things, so here's water boat project, I'm going to start giving these some labels. So I'm going to say design projects. So I hit save under design project because it's kind of a design project. And you can have different layers entitled for different projects, different subjects that you might do. But really, this is a very, very good starting point. So I'm going to zoom out a bit and see what else kind of exists around there. Here's the Loma Club. I click on the Loma Club. Don't know too much about there. Here's a Corvette Diner. Let's just say that I met with Corvette Diner and we're going to do a big fundraiser there. So I'm going to click here on Corvette Diner. I'm going to call this let's just say it's the Historical Antiquity Cars Project. Because Corvette Diner is this great diner that has Corvettes and cars features. So students will put on a historic car show to raise funds. Let's just say to raise funds for those with disabilities in the region. All right, so I'm just writing this stuff off the top of my head. Of course, you're going to go a little bit more detailed and talk to these people. And now I have historical antiquity of cars. I'm going to have to probably put a new layer, and I'm going to call that historical projects. Let's see here. Historical projects. Okay, hit save. And I don't know, I'm pretty sure you can drag these things in. But there's a way then I think that you can edit this to go into the actual subcategory of historical projects. But I can't see how to do that now, but it should be pretty easy. So as you see, this is really, really a cool strategy. I strongly suggest you start with the community. I have another friend who does project-based learning workshops, and she does that in Beijing. And that's her starting point too. She takes the community out on a bit of a scavenger hunt to find different locations. Now, the last thing I'm going to share with you is if you are like a coordinator and you're watching this and you're wondering, well, how do I get my teachers to start with something like this? What I would suggest, and let me go through these slides here, is what I might suggest is giving teachers each a slide with a picture, and it's a particular location that's located close to your school or in your community, and then just write a couple key questions. What's the most interesting piece of information? What problems do they face? What's a potential project idea? And it's really, really a fun activity. And then what you'll do is you'll have your teachers, they'll share with each other at the end. And I think that's right. If you see, again, sorry, I'm fighting a cold right now, but you see these teachers are now sharing their project ideas with each other. So just a really, really, really good strategy for coming up with project ideas. So hope you liked that video. I know it was long. I think it'll be useful for you. What the next strategy that we're going to look at is called the rapid fire brainstorm strategy. And hopefully you've done your community mapping as your first step. And this is a step to come up with even more project ideas. So I'll see you for that next learning module.